Today we'll be coming back to the third sloka. Yesterday we did the fourth stanza. So now we are going backwards because we left it. Because that is the natural sequence of the thought process which is going on to discover the self. What has happened? We started purely on an intellectual manner, as we are all intellectuals. Slowly we descended into the depths of the heart partly. Still it was partly intellectual, partly it was going deep down to the heart, which is the source of the self. Now, the present, the third stanza is going to complete the entire process of a particular type of spiritual practice as enunciated in the scriptures, by following which one is expected to reach the highest bliss, the universal absolute, or what you may call as the Atma Sakshatkara or the Bhagavat Sakshatkara, coming face to face with the ultimate truth. Here he is now going to say, yes, what so far we did was, we tried to separate the self from the various entanglements in which it was lying immersed. The Panchakosha, then the entire world, then you reduced its location, that you negated the world. You came back to the self. You still found that the area was large enough so that you couldn't easily discover it. Then we went to the 5 sheep. We tried to get out of the identification of the 5 sheep. Yes, even though we may try our level best to get out of those 5 sheep, it was a purely intellectual exercise which after a few days you get it by heart, you go on saying, I am not the body, I am not the prana, I am not this, that won't do. It is not a lesson to be learnt by heart. It is a lesson to be felt by the heart. It has to well up by itself from the heart. It is not something which can be taught. It has to be something which should be revealed from inside. Yes, we are trying our level best to reinforce it from outside, but none of them will be of help unless we try for getting the entire thing from inside, from the depths. So far you remove them. So the mind has been removed from the world, saying that is not something to be contemplated on. We removed it from the 5 sheep, that is not something to be contemplated on. But where are you going to place the mind? You are removing it from the various places, it's okay, but finally where is it going to rest? And that is where the success of your quest depends. If the entire quest is to find out that Atma, the self which alone is, which is the final truth, which is all the full bliss. So, you have to finally place the mind absolutely tied up with that Brahman. How to do it? The way which is told in the Upanishads is, in the various Upanishads, as I told yesterday itself, they have tried to define that ultimate truth, that Brahman, as Sat, as Chit, and then again it says that it is not atomic in its size, nor is it big, it is not of the medium size, it is not long, it is not short, it is not tall. You see, like that in some negative ways, again that is also a sort of neti. See, neti is not only with reference to the world, again in its own description, when once you say it is the self, so you want to find out, you want to place it as to what it could be. So you are telling, what is the dimension, please tell me. Because if it is the dimension of the eye, it may be the eye. If it is the dimension of my nose, it may be the nose. But then you find it dimensionless, oh Lord. So it can't be the ears, it can't be the eyes, it can't be my hand. So it has no dimensions, it has no length, it has no height, it has no mass. Today, the subatomic particles, the ultimate way they have found, they can never describe it. For describing it, they require two more factors other than the normal ones. The factors are, one is location, the other is velocity. And they have found, if they locate it, they can't find out the velocity. If they find out the velocity, they can't locate it, where it is like. And so they have said, it is something which is inexplicable. It is called the theory of uncertainty. They are certain about one thing, that it is all uncertain. That's all. So that is the subatomic theory now. And that applies to the Lord. And so the only way is keep all the thoughts around that Brahman. In whatever way you have known. How to think of the unthinkable. Well, think in this manner, oh unthinkable, that's all. Go on thinking the unthinkable one who is beyond all concepts. Go on, keep the mind on that. That's all. The dimensionless, the one who cannot be perceived through any of the senses, something which is beyond the senses, something which is transcendent, something which is immanent. So go on thinking of it in that line, whatever you know about it, go on thinking of it, and that is called the Brahmakara Vritti. Brahmakara Vritti means keep as the subject matter of the thoughts only the form of that ultimate truth, even if it is formless, that is our form, that's all. So in whatever way you know, whatever little you know about it, go on thinking of that, so that modification of thoughts, that thought process, it is called Brahmakara Vritti. Go on being immersed in it. Don't think of anything else. Walking, talking, eating, sleeping, drinking. At all times, go on thinking of that. Be immersed in those thoughts of the Brahman. That is the way in which you can tie it up with the mind. Then what happens in due course? This Brahmakara Vritti disappears along with the ignorance. Along with the basic ignorance of who I am, which has caused all the miseries. Because as we do not know who we are, we have been merging ourselves with the body and with the intellect and with the mind and the various things. And along with the basic ignorance, suddenly it goes away. When that ignorance, it was the dust which was covering the gold of jnana, the gold of the final truth, which is your goal. So, when once you have removed it, what remained was only jnana. Jnana is not to be obtained, it is always there. Knowledge is not to be acquired, knowledge is not to be cultured, it is always there. It is your very being, but unfortunately, it is all completely covered. Remove the covering, it is there. Just like, there was a statue of Kamakshi, fearing the onslaught of the Muslims in those days, that was taken away from its place and then it was removed to Tanjore. So people were not aware it was so dark-like and they thought it was something made up of some Panchaloha or some sort of a metal, like some base metal or something like that. For a long time they were keeping it as all dark in color. One day one of the bright young boys, he took it in his mind to rub it well. When he rubbed it, when the entire muck went off, the pure gold was there. And it is called the Bangaru Kamashi temple. It is still there in Tanjore. It is very famous. So, the Bangaru Kamashi came up. So, the Bangaru Kamashi didn't rise up from anywhere. She was always there. Only thing is there were some coverings. You have removed it and you find it is all pure gold. That is what is going to happen. But then, in order to keep the mind solely engaged in the Brahman, it is going to be a task. Because for births and births, we have always been engaged in the world. Even today, when we are saying, yes, I am now a sadhaka, you just keep a log of the work you are doing daily, morning to evening. Half an hour you are talking today as to what is going to be your menu, what vegetables your wife is going to make, and what are the things to be purchased from the market. And then you go on talking about the various things, your friends come, you discuss about either the yesterday's TV serial or about the political situation today. This is how our time goes. And we think that we are all spiritual. Even otherwise, what happens when somebody comes, you are trying to gossip about, is Osho a realized soul? Or is Aurobindo a realized soul? Who is bigger? How many inches taller he is in the spiritual insight? This is what we think it is all spiritual. How is it going to help us? It has nothing to do with our sadhana. This is again as much a gossip as talking about the other man's scandal. That's all. It is not going to be of any use to us at all. So, what is the most important thing is, you have to control your indriyas. The beauty is, in Bhagavan's method, he has never placed the emphasis on either of the two things, either on vairagya or on the prerequisites of trying to keep all your indriyas under control. While all the philosophical treatises, they all place such a lot of importance that vairagya and dispassion must be cultivated, and all your senses have to be under your control. Control your tongue, especially in its taste. Control your ears. Let it not go and hear all odd songs or worldly songs. Control your eyesight. Let it not see all tempting sights of the world. So, these are all enjoined in our Shastras before you go even one step ahead. But why is it that such a great Maharshi, who was Bhagavan himself, why didn't he? Because that method is such an easy method where everything comes automatically, there is no need. How? Look here, you are traveling from Delhi to Bangalore. You are a businessman. At night, you are intending to go there and come back. You didn't take anything much, only a few alternative clothes, garments. And suddenly when you got up on the first night, you found you couldn't recollect who you are. You have forgotten who you are. Yes, initially you didn't panic, oh, something wrong with me. Then you are trying to think, nothing doing. Then you began to search your bag. There may be some book where your name will be written so that you will know who you are, whether you are a man with family. He saw that ticket. Ticket is from Bangalore to Delhi, but he has forgotten whether it belongs to Delhi or whether it belongs to Bangalore, whether his family is at Delhi or at Bangalore, which is the address. There is nothing there at all. Now when he found there is nothing at all, he gets panicky. Then at last he tries to see the purse. It contains only 20 rupees, not sufficient even for his taxi fare. He gets more panicky. He doesn't know where his account is, who is the person he has to contact, and what for he is doing. Then, so, for hours together he is racking his mind. There is barely another 6 hours or 8 hours before which he is reaching Bangalore. Now he is panicky, he is thinking of it, and he is again and again wriggling his body and thinking, and he is in such a situation. Then is the waiter from the canteen comes from there and tells him, sir, first class gulab jamun, sir, hot, and it is purely red tea here. Then you like to be tempted by it, you say, get out. I do not know who I am, and I am worried, and you are talking of gulab jamun. So, when you are in that state of panic, when you do not know who you are, when you are in that quest sincerely from the heart, and you know pretty well that it is a question which has to be answered first. Without it you cannot live, you cannot go a step forward. So it has assumed that much importance to you that automatically dispassion has come. You are not concerned by anything in the world. Whatever comes, you say, get out and say, I don't want you all. So you are not bothered. So automatically Indriya control comes. So that is the beauty of the method enunciated by our Bhagavan. But that's not for all, as he says, that is meant for the papuis. The one who is fit for it, he has to reach a certain stage. Perhaps in his earlier birth, he might have followed all these things to some extent, quite likely. So, that is what it says. You have to have control over all your indriyas. Don't allow them to go here and there. Otherwise, it is these indriyas, your senses, which are going to take your mind along with them, and they'll be going into the various objects of the world. As you have been only with the objects of the world, out of 24 hours, 7 hours you slept. Out of 17 hours, even the so-called aspirant, how many hours we spend for the Lord? You may spend 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, but then what about the rest of the 17 hours? Maximum 4 hours, even the best of them are able to spend. Then 13 hours a day out of the 17 hours you are spending on the world, and you expect God to come and give you all darshan in those 4 hours. It is the world which will come. So unless we try to have at least 14 hours out of the, at least 12 hours out of the 17 hours for the Lord, and it has also to make up for years and years of world which has come into your chitta, which is lying embedded in your computer memory. You have to remove them all. So it is not an easy task. Many people, after 15 years, 20 years, they feel restless, they feel, sure, I've been doing it. What is the fun? I don't find any progress. Such a dense forest of darkness he has got inside it, accumulated over several births, and you expected them to go within 20 years, what you have lost in 20 lakhs of years, and you want to gain it within 20 years. 20 years is nothing compared to those 20 lakhs of years where you have forgotten who you are and you never bothered about it. We have forgotten the Supreme Being and we all expect it. This is what happens. So he says, you beat it with your discriminative faculty. Our indriyas are just like horses, just like the wild horses. You allow them to go, they'll be going over hill and dale. Supposing you don't rein any control over it, then what will happen is, they will go over hill and dale in such a way, the path will be so unequal, they will stumble somewhere and they will drop you into a pit and they will go away and you will never be able to get up, you will be subject to fractures. Major fractures. That is what is going to happen. So keep them under your control. And then they will go through a beautiful royal path and you will be able to reach your destination nicely. So this is how he starts this 3. Vishama Vishayeshu. That su, you make it a shu. In English also they have put as su. It should be S-H-U, shu. Vishama Vishayeshu Sancharinaha Aksha Aswani. Vishama Vishayeshu Sancharinaha Aksha Aswani. Dosha Darshana Kata Vidhapataha Swairam Sannivartya Swantaresmi Dhiraha Badhanti Yatra Tattvamati Tattvam. This is what we have to do. Vishama Vishayeshu. Sancharinaha. Swairam Sancharinaha. Swairam in the third line, it is an adjective to Sancharina. And the third line begins with Swairam Sannivartya. So that word Swairam means as it likes. According to its own mind, independently you allowing it to go. So Swairam goes with Sancharina. Vishama Vishayetu Sancharinaha Aksha Swami. Aksha means Indriya. Akshi means the eye. There is a lot of difference. If you put on E, the meaning becomes something else. Aksha means all the various Indriyas, all the senses, like the ear, like the nose, all the Indriyas. So, they are likened to the horses, Ashwa, Aksha Swan. The senses which are like the horses. What are they doing? Swairam Sancharinaha. They are straying and moving around as they like. Swairam as they like. According to wherever their mind takes, they were going because they were not under anybody's control. Swairam. Sancharinaha. Sanchara means movement. Sancharina, they were moving here and there. Where were they moving? Vishama Vishayeshu. They were going on the worldly thoughts. Vishaya means all the worldly objects. All the worldly objects, if you reduce them to their basic categories, you can say all the various forms, all the various sounds, Shabda, Rupa, Sparsha, all the various types of the feelings you get through contact, Sparsha, Rasa, all the various tastes you have got, all the various fragrances and smells which you are able to get. So all these things will describe the various objects. Whenever you see an object, how do you get an idea of the object? Your each part, it grasps certain portion. Your eyes cannot know how it smells. Trace of sandal paste is kept. So the eyes observe the particular form of the sandal paste. It is half liquid, half solid, and it is sandal in color. So this is being observed, the rupa and the color. The form and the color is being observed by the eye. Then it is the nose which says, what a fragrance, this is a beautiful fragrance, it should be from Mysore. So that gets the fragrance. And then it is absolutely cool to the touch. You have just returned after going in the sun, you touch it and after, what a relief. So this Sparsha. So these are all the various objects of the world which are being grasped through the various senses of yours. So Vishaya represents all these things like Shabda, Rupa, Sparsha, Gandha, that is sound, contextual experiences and forms, the smell. So all these things together, they represent the various types of objects. The objects may be many, but finally you can reduce to one of them. If you see a gulab jamun, you can reduce it to its form and the taste. If you see a sandal paste, you can reduce it to its form, taste, and its smell, and its sparsha. I mean the contextual experience. So all these things you are able to feel. So thus all these various objects, your mind is going in them. What types of objects? Vishama. The word Vishama has been interpreted as Atyanta Dukkha Jatilaha or as Bahuvidha Vikshepa Hetu. See, the word Vishama comes from the opposite of Sama. Samata means equal. So, Vishama means Jigataha Samata Yasmat Saha. Where the equality is gone, where things are unequal, somewhere it is a pit, somewhere it is a dale, somewhere it is a mountain, somewhere it is a hill, somewhere it is a plain road. So it is going in all types of grounds which finally put you to hardships. So Vishama here means two things. The objects of senses which are available in the world, which will ultimately be the cause of various miseries and sufferings. Today you feel the gulab jamun is so nice and you eat it and you eat about 20 of it. Then finally at night you feel that you require some antacids and even then it doesn't subside. Then you have to book some Perinom, then ranitidine and God knows what, and you don't have it. You go and beg. Perhaps wake up the president in his house, sir, I am having terrific pain, do you have anything in your house? So this is what is going to happen. So Vishama means that which is beset with various miseries and hardships ultimately. Immediately it looks it is something great, it is tempting, but the more you enjoy it, you will find it is going to ultimately result in miseries and hardships, whatever it may be. Any of the objects of the world, ultimately there is what is going to be. You will get too much attached, and one day you say, suppose there is a painting. You are so much attached to that painting. One day a thief takes it away, and for days together you feel depressed, because it is one of the greatest of paintings, the like of which is nowhere. It is a Picasso's original, and you feel depressed as if all your life has been lost with it. So it is that attachment which has caused all these miseries. So Vishama Vishayeshu. So your senses are going and grazing on such grounds where there are ups and downs, which are full of somewhere it gives you pleasure, somewhere ultimately it is going to give you hardships, miseries and sufferings. So in those places they are all going, and they are going as they like. Now you have to turn them back. Sannivartya, you are having turned them back from their course, because that is a course which will lead to calamity, to catastrophes. So you are trying to turn them back. Sannivartya, completely turn them back. Don't allow them to go anywhere near such places. Take them to the royal roads, to the main path. How do you do it? It won't be prepared to come. It is so much attached to those places. It is a wild horse actually, so it is not prepared to come. There is only one way. Apply the whip. Kashabhighatataha. Kasha means the whip. Abhighata means beating with it, lashing with that whip. So kashabhighatataha. So when that horse is trying to run away to all those places which are going to cause you all problems, the only way is turn them back to the right roads by applying the whip. So, in the case of our senses, which are likened to a horse, what is the type of whip we are going to apply in order to make them turn back to the right path? It is called Dosha Darshana Kasha Abhigatataha. Dosha Darshana. All the objects of the senses, before you get tempted, before you like to acquire them and enjoy them, tarry for a moment and think about it. Find out what are the disadvantages you are going to get out of it finally. You remember all the occasions when you have overeaten and then you found your distended stomach giving you trouble. So you say, look here, a wise man, once bitten he becomes twice shy. So you would like to avoid it. So I should not. So you should try to avoid it. So only by vichara, only by using your discriminative faculty, find out to what extent all these objects of the world are going to give you permanent pleasure or not. None of them is going to give you permanent pleasure. If at all, it is going to be for a small moment. On the contrary, the consequences might last for longer moments than you ever thought. I have been taking a lot of sugar and all that, knowing pretty well that my blood sugar has gone up high. then what is going to happen is one day I will fall into a coma. And it has already happened once or twice. So I have to be careful. So this is called dosha darshana. Tarry for a moment. Think of all the bad consequences which are likely to follow. You find out, look here, for such a small pleasure, I have to work so hard. I have to adopt all corrupt practices in order to get them done, in order to achieve my ends. Why? Why try for all these things? So like that, you will have to use your discriminative capacity, your determinative faculties, you have to use them and then slowly. Otherwise, you can do it by just putting your foot down. I am not going to take the gulab jamun today. But then what will happen is, it is only a suppression. A day might come, these temptations will lie embedded inside, and with interest, one day they will rear its head and they will sting you much more intensely than it now does. Because anything which is suppressed, it will be keeping its suppressed fury, and one day when it releases it, you won't be able to stand before it, withstand it. It won't be possible. So we have to be extremely careful. So the better method is, you just try to advise your mind. Look here, pretty well what all experiences we had last time. You were seeing TV up to night, 1 o'clock. What happened the next day morning? You took some 2 drinks, 2 pegs more. Then what happened? The entire day you had your hangover. You had to go to the doctor, and then you had to take leave. You had no leave. You had to take leave without pay. And then your bosses also issued notice to you. All these things you had to face just because you took 2 pegs more. Why don't you leave it? So, dosha darshana kasabika tataha. So no doubt at that time you will feel it bad. It is almost like a whip. Every time you try to control it in that manner, by advising the mind, it is not going to be an easy path. But still you have to apply it. And that is perhaps the kindest technique by which you can have control over your senses. Then, not only that, after turning it back, now if you leave it and go away, again they will be going back then. So what you will have to do, you will have to tie them. Otherwise, again they will be going back and the process will be repeated. You will have to go behind it, again bring it, again they will go away. What is the use? So you will have to tie it. Badhanti. How do they? With what? What is available? There is a nylon rope. What is the nylon rope? Swanta Rasmi Bihi. I am trying to follow the commentary of Ganapati Suri, who is one of the, they were all not only scholars, they were all tapasvis who were meditation for a long time. So as such, the meanings have come to them through profound tapasya, profound austerities. So I place more faith on their this thing. So whatever I am giving you, they may or may not agree entirely with the existing meaning, but I am giving it. But one thing I am assured, they do tally with the meaning which I get from Bhagavan's Tamil translation. That much I have ensured. But only thing is, people can interpret as they like. But to me, that interpretation tallies with Bhagavan's writings as I could interpret it. That is there. So here, Swanta Rasmi Bihi, it has been perhaps interpreted a different way. That is because what happens is, the process ultimately takes you to what is called the Brahmakara Vritti. This is the path which is prescribed in all the Upanishads. So unless a man knows the entire in-depth of these Upanishadic method or process or the technique of analysis, if you are going to interpret each sloka separately without knowing the connection with each other and without knowing it is a series in the same process, then naturally we may not be able to appreciate it properly. So now that you know, the last process is the Brahmakara Vritti, tying the mind only to the contemplation of the Brahman. Brahman is the name given for the ultimate truth, the universal. So that is what is the aim. So they have given the meaning for Swanta Rasmi Bihi in this manner. Manovritti Lakshana Rasmi Bihi Yasminne Paramatma Tattve Badunati. This is what is given there by the Puri. He says, Paramatma Tattve Manovritti Lakshana Rasmi Bihi. What are the types of ropes? Manovritti. Manovritti means the thought process, the waves of thoughts, the modification of the mind. That is what is called manovritti. So that manovritti, what sort of a manovritti? That which is tied to the Paramatma Tattva, to the ultimate Lord. That is what is called the Brahmakara. That is, go on contemplating on the Brahman. To the extent you know what is the Brahman, whatever has been given, it is Sat, it is only being, it is only remaining as existence. I am, it is the amness. Remain that amness. Then I am aware of that amness. I know I exist. Remain that awareness. And when you are there, it is going to give you bliss. You can even imagine the bliss. Imagine the bliss, ultimately you will get to the real bliss. That's all. A lie repeated 1,000 times will become a truth. So a bliss assumed 20,000 times will become a real bliss. That's all. So, Swanta Rasmibihi. Swanta means the Antakarana Vrittibihi. Rashmi means the rope. What sort of a rope? Swa-anta. Swa-anta means that which is inside, that is the mana, that is the mind. So it means the mind is made up of only the vritti. The ocean is made up only of waves. Without waves there is no ocean. So without the waves of thought there is no mind. So here it means by the manovritti, that is the various thoughts. So all the various thoughts should be tied to that one spot which is called the Parabrahma, Yatra, in which tattva, in which reality they are going to bind it. That is, what is the reality? The reality known as Brahma, the ultimate, the universal, the absolute, the imperishable, the immutable, Sarvasakshi, the ever-witness, the one who is always witnessing. So to that one, people tie it up. That's all. Then everything takes place automatically. This is the ultimate in the practice. You can't do anything more than that. Now the Brahmakara vritti is there, remain in it. It may take 10,000 years, it may take 10 minutes. You can never fix a date or a time for it. It all depends on your sincerity, your intensity. So depending on all these factors, it could even be within 15 minutes you may get your enlightenment. It may take 15 years. A man like Buddha had to spend so many years before he could get his enlightenment. So nobody can say. It may take any time. But this is the only process up to which we can go. And so that ultimate reality to which you tie up these pulses of your senses completely and make your thought process completely completely bound to that tattva, to that reality or you, tattvamasi tattva. So we sit like that. You see, the entire thing looks as if they are praising their Guru, that you are that reality, you are that ultimate. But then, in reality, they are waking up an aspirant like us. Then look here, you don't think that you are an ajnani. Never feel that how can I reach that stage? It is all Bhagavan and all that, they are all avataras they could reach. I am a very ordinary man. This happens to be the very first obstacle. So leave off that obstacle, go ahead. You say that I am dead, so how can I not? It is my own self I am searching for. I am not searching for somebody's self. I am not searching for something apart from me. It is really foolish to say I am searching myself and I can't get myself. How is it possible? So, we go to the next number 5. Purushaye vedamitya duvedeshu sarvakaranataya yasya sarmatmyam hatakasyeva mukudaditadatmyam sarasamamnayate tattvam tattvam. Now, here he is going to give another technique. You see, all the Mahatmas, they are full of compassion. And whatever they give according to the adhikaris, according to the fitness of the antenna of the people who are sitting and hearing. So first they give to the topmost class, the one who can grasp it easily and get out. Then they come to the next. Even the Dakshinamurti Stotra, initially it's all the highest philosophy. And then in one shloka, he brings it down to the upasana, because all people are not capable of all such intellectual practices. That is why he comes down. He says that to think of him in those 8 forms, that is the fire, the air, the Surya, the Chandra. So you come to the Pratyaksha world, because you can't ignore the world. However much you may say the technique that there is no world, this is not this is not it, but it won't run. Do you think the world will run away so easily from you, which you have observed for so many births? So it is not that easy. So for them what to do? For them to whom the world still continues to be real. The one who says, if I am real, the world is also real. How do you say the world doesn't exist? How do you say that this is not? How can I do it? Yes, it is not possible for all. And for them, he has come down to another step. That is the other step, which is in the same Veda. The same Vedas which say that the Lord alone is, the world is not, and the world is not separate from the self, it is the self which projects itself as that. They are now expanding on the other part of it, that the world is there, but not in the form in which you see. It looks as if it is there in that, but that is also God. So if you cannot make it nil, you make it all. You make the entire world as the Lord. You make the entire world as the Supreme Being. Whatever you see, you say, I am seeing the Supreme Being. I am seeing the horse. I am seeing the ass, the donkey. I say it's all the Lord. It's all the same electricity which is running inside. It is the same force which makes it eat, which makes it brave, which makes it walk. And it is the same one which makes this brave, which makes this talk, which makes this walk. So what is the difference? It is the same electricity. So it is key, like that you bring to what is called the Tadatya Bhava, the identification with everything in the world. Then, so long as you think that something is different from you, then the mind gets tempted to get it. The day you know it is I who is in that form, then how will you get tempted? You can't. That is all. If so long as a 0-watt bulb thinks that a 1,000-watt bulb is different from it, it is full of jealousy, it is full of envy. Every day it is cursing the day when the Lord has created as a 0-watt. Look at that fellow, the 1,000-watt, how brilliant he is. But then the day it knows, it is I who has got with that bulb also. There is only one wire, there is only one electricity with all this infinite wattage, and it is I. It is only due to some problems in the bulbs that I am not able to give my best while I am giving my best there. But otherwise it is I who is in that, then it will cease to have any ill will towards it. It cannot have any envy towards it. Then it has got the best of harmony in the world. It comes to that. So, the same Veda, which originally asked you to go on negating the world, it says, no, you look at it in this positive way, it is all the Supreme Being. Purusha evedakam sarvam yadbhutam yachabhavyam utamrtatvaseshana yadannena tirohati etavanasya mahimam. In the Purushotta, just in the beginning itself he says, all the world you see, they are not the world, they are actually the Lord, the Supreme Being. He alone is in all those things. Forget their external forms. the one which makes it work, the one which makes it do the particular function. There is a doctor, he does his work. There is an engineer, there is a clerk, there is a chaprasi, but all these are being activated by the same electric force. But the one is doing a different job from the other. The one is looking at the eyes and prescribing medicines. The other one is doing some arithmetical calculations as a clerk. And another is doing some engineering work and building a bridge. The functions are absolutely different. But the one who does all the functions is one and the same. So we have to come to that. Purusha evedagam sarvam. So he says, in all the scriptural texts, there are ever so many times this is being repeated that the entire thing is the same Purusha. Purusha means that being, the supreme being. So idam means this means this entire world. Idam represents the entire world. Purusha eva idam, all this world, the entire universe is all the Purusha. It is all the being only. That is how the various scriptural texts proclaim. So, unless you can understand that this is meant for a different category of persons, whose antenna is not as sharp as to grasp the earlier one, you will think, oh, the Vedas are full of contradictions. Yeah. At one place it says there is no world, at another place it says all the world is God. What does it mean? So, all these contradictions arise because we are trying to explain the inexplicable, which is not absorbable by all, which cannot be grasped by all with the same faculty. So naturally, to suit the people of various abilities, the various techniques are given. So don't think that all the techniques are meant for the same. So this is another technique. So, Purusha Vedam Ityadi Vedeshu. Vedeshu, in all the scriptural texts, Purusha Vedam Ityadi. There are several places which comes. Number one is Purusha Vedagam Sarvam. Then at another place it comes Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma. What all you see is all the Brahman. So that is another place it comes. So like that in various Adi means etc. etc. So this idea is expressed in various hymns in various places in the Vedas. That is, that it is that supreme being which has become the entire world. How? Sarvakaranataya jasya sarvajam. Because this happens to be the material cause of all the things. What do you mean by material cause? According to our philosophy, anything in this world, it has a causation. There is some cause from which it has come. A pot is there, it has come out of the mud. From the mud only it has come. The mud is considered as the material cause. The material cause means the main material out of which the entire thing is made, it is mud. But the mud alone, if you keep it, it can't convert itself into a pot by itself. It requires a potter, somebody else who has to be there. He is called the nimitta karana or the efficient cause. So we have got two types of causes. Actually there will be three types. There is what is called a sahakari karana. There are some associate equipments which are required, like the wheel of the potter and all that. But mainly, let us see that there are two types. One is a person who is helping the mud to become a pot. So without him it is not possible. So he is called the efficient cause, while the material cause is the main thing body is made of.